Welcome, my friends, to the Spirituality, Healing, and Vision Quest podcast, where we're going to take a deep dive into universal spiritual principles and ground them in modern day practices that you can apply to your life today. Hi, my name is Beth Berkins, and I want you to know that I am really committed to simplifying ancient wisdom practices. I've been studying them for over 40 years now and inside of them, and I want to give you easy to understand, proven, and reliable keys that are going to unlock true sources of power and healing for you. You're going to walk away from this podcast with some practical tools to create that greater meaning and purpose, that larger purpose that your soul is calling you to. All right, so let's get going on the next episode. Thanks for joining me. Hello, my friend. Hey, thanks for joining me here. Beth Berkins here, teacher of shamanism, vision quest guide, teacher of religion and spirituality, and drummer. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today. I want to talk with you about the shamanic drum, one of the most important features in my life. Let's talk about the drum in general, the shaman's drum. It's really one of the most powerful tools that a shaman has, is her drum. Using the drum, boom, 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 we're enabled to go into what Michael Harner called a shamanic state of consciousness, or you might call it an altered state of consciousness. And once you're in this consciousness, you're able to see with your heart and travel with your spirit to other worlds where the compassionate, helping, healing spirits live, where they reside. And these helping spirits, of course, whether they're power animals or they're more in human form, what we call the teachers or the spirit allies, they love to help us solve problems that we have in life, give us healing help, guide us on our way through our days. You think about the drum beat. It is a primal sound. And for each of us humans, it's the first sound that we ever hear in our lives. We hear our mother's drum, her heartbeat, boom, 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 boom. Now, shamanic drums are simple, what we call frame drums usually. They have a wooden hoop, and some kind of skin is stretched over that wooden hoop. And the shaman uses a simple beater that usually has a wooden handle and some kind of soft head on the end, usually a leather head. And the drum is struck with the beater, making compelling, resonant sound that actually affects the brain. Studies have been done on this. And when a drum is used shamanically, a person's brain waves shift. They drop down into theta and alpha ranges. This completely affects the central nervous system. And this state of being is sometimes called a trance state. Now, long before shamanism found me, there came a point in my spiritual practice. I was working with Evelyn Eaton very actively at this point in time, and we were laying out medicine wheels and doing wonderful, wonderful earth-based healing ceremonies in at Esalen Institute together, and also up in the Owens Valley where Evelyn lived. I got this calling that it was time for me to have a drum. I felt it. I needed a drum. In my work with the medicine wheel, for example, in my other work that I was doing, the drum called out to me. And I took this trip across the southwest part of America into Arizona, New Mexico, and I went into lots and lots of trading posts. And these are usually near Native American reservations, and they sell many of the beautiful, beautiful things that Native Americans weave and carve, and lots of drums. It was just amazing to just go into these trading posts and pick up a drum and just play it and really listen to it and feel its energy, you know. I worked with many drums, but none of them spoke to me until I got up to the Hopi Mesa, up pretty high, at a place called the Blue Lake Drum. And they had some double-sided drums, and I tried a bunch of them, and then I came to one, I picked it up, and I used the beater, and the sound just resonated with my heart. The owner of this store, this trading post, Blue Lake Drum, she told me that the skin on both ends of the drum, it was from an elk that had once lived up there in those high mountains, and the frame of the drum itself was from a cottonwood tree, and that the drum maker had found red earth and rubbed it into the cottonwood, so it had this beautiful kind of red ochre hue to it. Oh, it's just gorgeous. This was the drum that I had been waiting for, and the drum that had been waiting for me. We were like a perfect fit together. And I started using her in my dream classes at Twin Lakes College of the Healing Arts in Santa Cruz, and around the medicine wheels that I was laying out and teaching also. It awakened so much in me. It was like I went up the spiral to like the next level of my spiritual practice and the next level of my connection with spirit. And then I went on my first vision quest into the Inyo White Mountains of California. And I carried the drum on my back with my big backpack up to 8,500 feet. And I drummed, throughout the 4 days I was up there. The last night, the fourth night, I sat in my purpose circle and I drummed all night. It was this incredible full moon, and so dark up there in the desert. I could see the spiral arms of the Milky Way, and the nighthawks came through, calling out their beautiful call, and the desert quail, the pinyon pines, and the earth itself, sandstone, and with flakes of obsidian from the Paiutes who had been up there, on their vision fasts. What happened for me working with that drum all night and being up there for 4 days and 4 nights, I got into alignment with the pulse of the earth. And I found my own inner guidance system, my own inner compass. My heartbeat and the earth's heartbeat got synchronized, came together. And this healed a terrible kind of emotional burnout that I had been in when I climbed up to this base camp. I had been stuck there for about a year, just, exhausted. That all got healed. And I got my inner GPS back so I could go back home to Santa Cruz and live my life in a much more grounded, harmonious, focused, guided way. So the shamanic drum is just beautiful, as you can imagine, the sound of it. But, it takes the shaman on what is sometimes called magical flights. But the drum itself, you think about the drum itself, it has its own spirit. Well, sure, it's made out of wood. It's from a tree. Trees have spirit. It's made out of animal skin, many of them. And of course, the animals have spirits. So you put all that together, you've got this living being, really. It's got its own kind of awareness and things that it sometimes wants, asks of the shaman who owns the drum. For example, I learned that my drum really likes to have me run my hand over her face before I start drumming, before I start the shamanic drum beat or use a drum in any kind of ceremony. She likes to be awakened and asked, can we drum together today? And in my weekend workshops up in Mount Shasta, California, the workshop's called Shamanism and the Spirits of Nature. I show my students how to get in touch with the spirit of their own drum. There's a way to do this shamanically through the shamanic journey method. And I show them, this is how you build a partnership with your drum. You want to build a relationship with that drum. It's your one of your greatest helpers in your healing work. It's a living being. So much so that, in the anthropological literature, you read about various shamanic cultures like the Yakuts, way up in the far north of Russia. And they, or the Sami people in the far north of Norway, the reindeer people, they call the drum the reindeer. Their drums are stretched with reindeer skin, of course. And for them, when they're beating the drum, they get on the sound of that. They're getting on the reindeer itself, and they're riding the reindeer down into the lower world, down into the hidden universe, or up into the hidden universe. Others, in the far north of Russia, they call the drum the horse. For some of them, their drums are stretched with horsehide. And so they feel the presence, the spirit of the horse in the drum. And they get on that sound and they ride the horse down to the lower world or into the upper world or into working with the spirits of the middle world. So I love what my shaman teacher, Don Jose Matsua, says and how he encourages us. Don Jose lived to be 112 years old. And he lived down in the Sierra Madre of Mexico. And he would come up here and very often and came to the college where I was teaching and led us in healing ceremonies. I was so grateful that, he would come here, and many of my Cabrillo College students and friends, we would all gather in the teepee across the street from the main college, and we'd light a fire and do ceremony with him. And he said this amazing thing one time. He said, I see that many people here are so caught up in their own little lives that they are not getting their love up to the sun, out to the ocean, and into the earth. They forget the elements, forget the source of their life. You want to study these things, he said. Then one day, the sea will give you heart, the fire will give you heart, and the sun will give you heart. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man. Huichol shaman. So, if you have a drum, or if you get a drum, maybe you can borrow a drum, even from a friend, I want to give you an invitation now. I want to invite you to do some ceremony with it. See if you can find a nice quiet place. It might be in your living room or your bedroom or your backyard or even in your car. A quiet place where you can sit comfortably and where you can work with your drum. In your own way as you drum. And close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath of life. Feel the oxygen the trees are sending you right where you are. And just begin to drum. Just get in sync with that drum. And in your own way, get your love up to the sun. Drum your love up to the sun. Then your prayers up there with the sound of the drum. Get your love out to the ocean, or maybe you live with lakes. Get your love out to the lakes or out to the rivers where you live. And then get your love with the drum beat, boom, 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 down into the earth. You can feel your gratitude as you're drumming, thanking the earth, thanking the sun, thanking the ocean, thanking the lakes. We wouldn't be here without the help of these immense beings and their huge spirits, and their power, and their love. Give thanks for all the incredible gifts in your life. Feel your gratitude as you're drumming. So this is a gratitude ceremony with the drum. And send it out there. Get it out there. Try this on. See how this works for you. See how this feeds your soul and feeds your heart and feeds your spirit. And then one day, as Don Jose Matsua says, one day they will give you heart. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. So any questions, any comments, please feel free to connect with me personally on my website, bethbergens.com. And if you feel guided to, one thing that I do ask is for you to rate the podcast. This way we can reach way more people, and in that way impact more lives, of course. So with that, I'll see you on the next exciting Spirituality and Vision Quest podcast.